I told my fiancée makes sense after she said someone better could replace me. So I called it off, printed the joint savings bank alert, found her valet ticket, saved the vendor text thread, sent the voice memo to compliance, and watched her get placed on administrative leave. The first thing that hit me was an email subject line on our shared desktop at my place. Vendor dinner seating confirmed sat there like it belonged to me. It did not, but it was in my house, on my screen in my quiet kitchen. I am Rafe Durnell, 41, and I calibrate truck scales at grain elevators and feed mills along the Mississippi bluffs. I spend my days listening for tiny clicks in load cells and watching numbers settle when a platform is truly level. That morning in Winona, Minnesota, the numbers in my life were not settling at all. They were bouncing like a bad reading you cannot trust. My place is a small rambler on the edge of town with a mudroom that always smells like damp boots. There is a coffee tin I keep refilling, and it never fully loses the scent. A fish tank hums by the window, steady and soft, even when everything else feels sharp. Routine can make a house feel safe until it makes it feel like a stage. A week earlier, Delia Harkness said the sentence that changed our whole relationship. We were engaged but still living separately, planning to move in together after the new year. She works as a procurement coordinator for a regional hospital system in La Crosse, so rules and ethics are part of her job. That night she looked straight at me and said, "I won't cheat on you, but if someone better shows up, why would I stay?" Here is the part people miss. She did not say it like a joke. She said it like a policy, like a line in a handbook. Mini hook because it matters when someone explains how they will hurt you. Believe them the first time. Confrontation one happened right there at her apartment, by her sink that always smelled like lemon cleaner. I asked her if she heard what she just said. She shrugged and told me honesty was better than fake promises. She said I should be grateful she was not lying to keep me calm. I stared at her for a long second and my chest went quiet. I said, "Makes sense." I did not raise my voice because I was already doing something else. I was taking notes in my head, the way I do when a scale reading looks wrong. At work, I do a level check before I trust any number. I do not argue with a crooked platform. I adjust it or I walk away. Delia's sentence felt like a platform tilted on purpose, and she wanted me to pretend it was fine. For a few days, she acted normal, almost gentle. She talked about holiday staffing at the hospital and complained about vendors bringing donuts like it was a bribe. She also kept mentioning a charity gala and the networking that came with it. Mini hook. The word networking can be a mask when someone wants options without blame. Then, on a cold Tuesday, the money proof hit first. I was inside a scale house at a feed mill, with grain dust clinging to my jacket and a space heater ticking under the desk. My phone buzzed with a joint savings alert we used for our move-in fund. It showed a charge for $684 from Rivermark Events VIP table. I did not call right away. Practical advice number 1 is simple. If money is shared, pause before you react and gather facts before feelings. I finished the calibration, signed my work order, and drove back with my jaw tight. That evening, I asked Delia about the charge. She did not blink, and that scared me more than anger would have. She said it was for hospital fundraising, and it was part of the job. She told me I was making a big deal out of a line item. I asked why it came from our move in savings. She said the hospital would reimburse her later, and I needed to stop being dramatic. Mini hook. When someone spends your future like it is spare change, your future becomes their toy. The next proof was location, and it came in the dumbest, most ordinary way. Delia stopped by my house to drop off a box of winter clothes she said I left at her place. When she set it down, her hospital tote tipped and a stiff valet ticket slid out. It was stamped with Rivermark Hotel ramp and dated the same night as that VIP table charge. I held it up and she watched me do it. Her face stayed calm, almost bored, like I was holding up a napkin. She said the gala committee met at the hotel and Valet was normal. The way she said normal made my skin prickle. Mini hook, because this is where people get trapped. If you accept every calm explanation, you will drown in calm lies. I did not accuse her of cheating, because that was not even the point. The point was that she was building a life where I could be replaced at any moment. A day later, the communication proof showed itself without me digging. Delia asked to use my tablet to stream a training video while her phone charged. She left it on my couch and went to the bathroom, and the screen lit up with a message preview. The sender name was Madsen Kier, and the first line read, "If I am a better option, you will pick me, right?" I did not touch her phone. I did not hack anything. The message popped up on my device because she signed into her account on it. The thread was already open, like a door left unlocked. In the chat, Delia wrote back in the same cool tone she used with me. She told him she did not owe anyone loyalty if a better match showed up. She even typed, "I told Rafe that up front, so I'm not the bad guy." Mini hook, the cruelest part is when someone uses honesty as a shield for disrespect. Madsen Kier was not some random guy at a bar. He was a medical device sales rep who pitched equipment to Delia's department. His photos in the thread showed tailored suits and hotel lobbies and champagne flutes, the kind of life that looks shiny from the outside. He was close to her age, and he talked like everything was a negotiation. And Delia was answering him like she was already halfway gone. I sat there and let the screen dim. I felt the same sensation I get when a scale fails a level check. You cannot fix it with hope. You fix it with action, or you stop using it. That night I did not scream. I called Delia and told her our engagement was done. I said I was not auditioning for my own relationship. She said I was overreacting, then she said, "This is why I can't promise forever." I hung up and sat in the hum of my fish tank. I changed the code on my garage keypad, not out of spite, but out of safety. I also removed her access from my shared utility account and forwarded my mail, because loose ends become reasons to return. Practical advice number 2 is this. When you break up with someone who keeps you as an option, close the doors that let them treat your life like a waiting room. I did not sleep much, so I worked. I took extra calls and drove to small towns where the only lights at dawn were from grain elevators and gas stations. I kept thinking about her sentence and how she said it like a rule. Mini hook, a rule like that turns love into a contest, and contests always have losers. A week after I ended it, I went to a community center class I had been attending for months, a basic sign language group meant for volunteers. That is where I knew Siafra Lane from, a calm woman who showed up on time and listened more than she spoke. She works as an ASL interpreter, and she carries herself like a person who keeps promises because they matter. We had coffee after class, and it felt quiet in a good way. I did not post it. I did not rub it in anyone's face. But the next Saturday, Siafra and I walked through a winter craft market in Winona, looking at handmade candles and wooden spoons. We were laughing at a crooked snowman ornament when Delia saw us. She froze like she hit a wall. Then she rushed up, eyes bright with fury, and demanded to know what I was doing. People turned, because loud emotion pulls attention like a siren. Delia said I moved on too fast and I must have been waiting to replace her. She called Siafra a rebound and called me fake. I looked at Delia and said the line she gave me, word for word, because she built this logic herself. Someone better showed up. Why would I stay? Delia's mouth opened and shut like she could not breathe. She started shaking and yelling that I twisted her words. Mini hook, the person who writes the rules hates them when they lose by them. Delia stormed out, and my phone started buzzing that night with blocked calls from unknown numbers. I did not answer. I was not going to do a level check on a scale I already knew was crooked. I wanted a clean break, not another round of her calm control turning into public chaos. 2 days later, the killer receipt arrived by accident, and it made everything click into place. Delia's tablet, the one she used for hospital trainings, was still synced to the shared printer at my house from when we planned our move. A short audio file printed as a transcription header, like the device tried to send it as part of notes. The title was Vendor Dinner Plan, and the timestamp matched the night of the VIP table. I opened the file on my computer because it was already in my system, already in my home. It was Delia's voice, recorded as a voice memo, crisp and low. She was practicing what to say to me, almost like rehearsing a speech. She said, "Keep Rafe calm, he won't leave if I make it sound mature," and she laughed. Then she said something worse. She said Madsen could get her out of this town and into a better life, and that if it worked, she would handle the engagement later. Mini hook, because this is the moment. When someone plans your pain ahead of time, your love becomes their tool. Now it was not just feelings and a fight at a craft market. It was proof tied to her job and to money taken from our joint savings. It was also proof that she was using her position to get close to a vendor who wanted access. I did not call Delia first. I called an older lawyer named Corrine Vasco, someone my coworker recommended because she handles clean separations and does not get pulled into drama. I met her late at night in a self-serve laundromat in Trempilo, where the air was hot and smelled like detergent and lint. Corrine listened, asked for the dates, and said, "Do not argue, document." She told me something that stuck. She said a calm person can still be dangerous if they are calm because they think they own the outcome. Then she told me to make one folder, keep it factual, and let the right authority handle the rest. Mini hook, the right move is not always loud, it is precise. The authority figure was not a judge in a robe. It was a hospital compliance office that takes vendor ethics seriously. Delia's job has strict rules about gifts and favoritism, and the audio memo suggested intent. Corrine helped me submit the evidence without threats, without insults, just dates and files. Confrontation 3 happened a week later in a hospital admin conference room in La Crosse. The walls were beige, the table was too long, and the air felt like cold copier paper. A compliance director sat at the end with a binder, and Corrine sat beside me, calm as stone. Delia walked in wearing a sharp blazer, like she could dress her way out of truth. Delia started with deny. She said the audio was fake or taken out of context, and she said I was obsessed and trying to ruin her. The compliance director asked if it was her voice, and Delia said she could not confirm. Her eyes flicked to me, like she wanted me to flinch. Then Minimize came right on schedule. Delia said vendors always tried to impress staff, and it was normal to attend dinners. She said the VIP table was for fundraising, and the joint savings charge was temporary. She said our relationship, drama, had nothing to do with her work. The compliance director slid the bank alert printout and the valet ticket copy across the table. Corrine added the message thread screenshot from my tablet, showing Madsen's name and Delia's words about better options. Delia's shoulders dropped a fraction and partial admit leaked out. She said she made a mistake and she liked the attention. She said she never promised Madsen a contract, and she said the voice memo was private venting. She tried to keep it small, like a stain you can wipe off. Then the emotional move hit, heavy and fast. Delia started crying and said I humiliated her at the market, and I was the reason she felt unstable. She said she was under pressure at work and I should have protected her, not reported her. She said she loved me, and she said I was throwing away years, even though our relationship was not years. Mini hook, because this is where people break. She wanted me to be her safety net while she tested other options. She wanted loyalty from me while she treated loyalty like a joke. I looked at Delia and spoke slowly, like I was reading a number I could trust. I said, "You told me you would stay only if no one better showed up." I said, "You spent our move money on a vendor dinner." I said, "You rehearsed keeping me calm and you called it mature." The room stayed quiet because facts are louder than tears when the facts are clear. The compliance director ended the meeting and said they would open a vendor relations investigation. Delia was placed on administrative leave that day pending review. The judgment did not stop in that room, because hospitals run on reputation and trust. Delia's name came off a foundation committee list, and people in her department stopped replying to her messages. Madsen Kier betrayed her the minute the heat arrived. He sent compliance an email claiming Delia pursued him, and he never offered anything improper. He even called the dinners standard outreach, and then he stopped responding to Delia entirely. Minnie Hook, the person selling a dream will vanish when the bill comes due. Delia tried one last control move. She had a mutual acquaintance from the hospital call me to help her fix it, and said Delia wanted to talk privately. I told the acquaintance no, and asked them not to carry messages again. Practical advice number 3 is this: do not accept guilt delivery from people who are not in the relationship, because it turns your boundary into a group vote. I went back to my work routes, and the cold air started feeling cleaner. I took a regional lead role within my calibration company by summer, training younger techs on how to spot drift and how to correct it. I told them the same thing I told myself. If you skip the level check, the whole reading becomes a lie. Siafra and I kept seeing each other, slow and steady. She never asked me to prove my worth like a product on a shelf. She asked simple questions and listened to the answers. That calm felt real, not controlling. Months later, I heard Delia resigned before the hospital board could finalize the outcome. She moved to another town and tried to start over, but the vendor world is small. People remember the kind of mess that touches compliance. Minnie Hook, you cannot build a new life on a burned bridge and expect it to hold. On a quiet Sunday in early winter, Siafra came to my house after my route ended. We cooked stew in my kitchen and ate it on the back porch under a cheap string of warm lights. The fish tank hummed inside, steady as always, and for once my mind felt steady too. I watched the steam rise from the bowls and thought about Delia's sentence from the start. I did not hate her anymore. I just understood her. My life works better when I trust what the numbers tell me. I do a level check, and if the platform is tilted, I do not stand there arguing with it. I step off, and I find ground that does not shift under my feet. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel.